A confrontation is brewing between the Senate and suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, representing Kogi Central, over her planned resumption of duties tomorrow, July 15. Despite a federal high court ruling declaring her 6-month suspension excessive and unconstitutional, the Senate has vowed to prevent her return. The Senate's position is based on its interpretation of the court's judgment, which, according to its spokesperson, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, didn't contain any express or mandatory order directing her recall or reinstatement before the expiration of her suspension. The Senate insists that the court's observation on the length of the suspension were merely advisory and not enforceable or binding in law. However, Natasha's legal team, led by Senior Advocate of Nigeria Michael Jonathan Numa, maintains that the court's ruling is clear and binding. In response to Senator Natasha's notification regarding her planned attendance at plenary, the Senate issued a press statement on Sunday through its spokesperson. The statement reads, "The Senate wishes to state categorically and for the avoidance of doubt that the certified true copy of the enrolled order did not contain any express or mandatory order directing the recall or reinstatement of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan before the expiration of her suspension. The learned judge, Honorable Justice Binta Yaku, merely made advisory observations on the length of the suspension, which are not enforceable or binding in law. The enrolled order clearly demonstrates that the Senate's disciplinary power under Section 60 of the Constitution remains intact and were not invalidated. Nowhere in the judgment did the court issue a declaratory or injunctive order mandating her recall. However, the Senate will consider and deliberate on this judgment and consequently take a constitutionally informed position on the matter and convey the outcome to the affected senator and the public. The Senate remains committed to the principles of constitutional democracy, judicial independence, and the rule of law. Subsequently, it will not allow its processes or integrity to be undermined by premature interpretations of ongoing legal proceedings or by misapplications of constitutional provisions. In conclusion, there is no legal basis upon which Senator Natasha can resume legislative duties at this time, the statement added. Now, the letter I just read was from the Senate to Senator Natasha concerning her resumption. Recall that Natasha had earlier in the letter to the Senate signed by Michael Johnson Numa's son of Mesa M.N. Numa and Partners LLP, dated July 11, vowed to resume plenary Tuesday unfailingly. The letter to the Senate, that is from Natasha now, reads, "After a thorough consideration of the facts and applicable law, the Honorable Court made several findings and orders, including, notably, a definitive pronouncement in Order 10 that the 6-month suspension imposed on the plaintiff was excessive, overreaching, and inconsistent with her ability to comply with the provisions of Section 63 of the 1999 Constitution. We respectfully demand that you give immediate effect to the clear and binding order of the Federal High Court by taking all necessary steps to facilitate Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's resumption of her legislative duties forthwith in full compliance with the court's judgment. Please also take notice that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan intends to resume her legislative duties on Tuesday the 15th day of July 2025. In a related development, Natasha has filed an appeal at the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal, seeking to overturn a contempt judgment delivered by Justice Binta Yaku of the Federal High Court. The ruling on July 4, 2025 found her guilty of contempt and imposed a fine of 5 million naira on her. Her appeal is based on claims that the judgment was legally flawed, procedurally defective, and amounted to a miscarriage of justice. Natasha is requesting that the appellate court set aside the ruling in its entirety. Now, analysts are of the view that without a prompt effort to encourage the Senate and Natasha to sheath their swords, a confrontation is imminent if Natasha goes ahead with her planned resumption. What are your views concerning what is happening between the Senate and Senator Natasha? Please drop your comments and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.